All right, foodies, let's get into this delicious pizza. I'm using a whole wheat dough today. Yes, guys, I decided to try it. So I have salt and sugar in there already and I whisked it together. Now I'm adding my instant yeast. You don't need to activate this at all. It's instant yeast. So I'm going to whisk all of that together. Then we're going to go in with some oil and some water. So just make a well in the center, pour in that olive oil, and then you're going to pour in the water as well. I don't have the mixer with the dough arm attachment, so I'm just going to use my spoon. You could use a very firm spatula or you could use your hand for the entire process, but I prefer to go in with a wooden spoon and then finish up with my hands. So all you're doing is just mixing and adding the water as you mix, okay? It's gonna feel a little sticky, but don't worry. Dust your surface there with some flour, and then we will knead this for about 6 to 8 minutes to get it into a smoother ball. The dough has been kneaded, so it's looking nice and smooth. What we're gonna do now is proof the dough. We need to let it sit and expand so it's nice and easy to roll out. So I'll put it in this bowl here and I'm gonna brush it with some olive oil just to prevent it from drying out. You want to let your dough rest in a dark, warm area. I won't be turning on my oven at all, but I know that area is on the warmer side in my kitchen and dark. So I'll just leave it in there to proof for 30 minutes. And you want to make sure it sits until the dough expands. Now, after proofing the dough, it's definitely expanded. You want to press 2 fingers in it. If the dough is good and done proofing, then the holes won't push back really fast. You can still see the indentation, so that's good. Now, what we're going to do is punch down the dough. There's a lot of gases, a lot of air in it, so we need to deflate it a bit. So punch down to get out that excess air, but don't twist your fist. Just punch down and lift and punch down. Once you've punched down that excess air, you don't have to punch it down for half an hour, guys. Just a few punches, you're good to go. So I have my dusted surface here. I just sprinkle on some flour. And this is not whole wheat, this is just regular flour. And then just scrape that dough out onto the surface. This is enough for 2 pizzas, so I'm going to cut it in half. Now what I will do is I'm just going to fold this piece into itself about 6 to 8 times. Just fold it in and fold it in until you form a ball. This is going to be cling wrapped tightly and left in the fridge to be used in a few days or the freezer to be used a while from now. So this can definitely be used again. Now the other piece, we need to make our circle. Okay, so what we're going to do is make sure our hands aren't sticky or wet. And then what I'm doing is just pressing the outer borders of the circle. This is one way of expanding the circle. You can use a rolling pin if you want to. I mean, that's the easy way. But this is how I like to do it. So what you're doing is just pressing the outer parts and keep pressing and pulling away from the center until the circle expands, and then gradually work your way in until the center is flattened. So you're just flattening the outer border and then keep pressing and pressing, and just check to make sure your dough isn't sticking. If it's sticking, sprinkle on a little cornmeal or a little flour. Okay, cornmeal is good for this too because it helps with that crunch of your dough. So just keep flattening with your fingers, okay? And I like to move the dough around on my fist to help stretch it out. That's another thing you can do. Just keep pressing until it expands, but try not to stretch too hard because then you might tear the dough. Okay, another technique is just spinning the dough and lightly pulling at it, so you're not trying to tear it. All right, I'm just showing you this, guys. I know if you're busy you might just reach for that rolling pin in the drawer. All right, so just showing it to you. So all we're doing is trying to expand this to a big circle. That's it. Okay, so once I'm satisfied, then I will put it on my pizza pan. Now, some people swear by baking their dough first. If you want to do that, fine. I never see a reason to. I'm just going to put it on the pizza pan. If you have a pizza stone, then you want to heat it up and then put the dough on it. And then we're just going to form this in the pan and make sure we have our nice big circle. Okay. Now, usually at this point, I'll brush on some olive oil just to, create that protection for my dough once I put all those other ingredients on. But this time I decided to just, go ahead and just put the sauce on there just to see, how it would turn out, because I usually put that olive oil on there. So I'm just going to spread the pizza sauce using a ladle. Just use your favorite pizza sauce that you can find, okay? I will leave all the details in the description for my pizza sauce. So just spread that on. I like to put it all the way to the edge because trust me, if there's no sauce there, I'm not gonna eat it. So I'll do that. Then I have some pieces of provolone here. This is completely optional. Mostly I just use, some shredded cheese, but because I had this in the fridge, I wanted to use it up. So slices of provolone, and then we will go in with some shredded mozzarella cheese. Now, as far as toppings, I'm using some ham, bacon, and pineapple today. You could use other toppings if you want. You just want to cut them really small so they can cook fast. After adding the toppings, I'm just going to drizzle some olive oil all over. You can also brush the edges of the dough if you'd like to. And we're going to bake this up. And it's going to be baked at a very high temperature, so you don't need to bake it for very long. And this is the finished product, guys. Sometimes I definitely order pizza, guys, but to be honest, homemade pizza is top notch because you're going to buy the best ingredients and you're going to put as much topping as you want to. It's absolutely delicious. I add some crushed pepper to one side because my son is going to have the other side. So I'll just put some pepper on there, but it's so delicious. And you guys need to try my other recipe. It's with the regular flour, not whole wheat. And tell me which one you prefer. I also have a recipe for ripe plantain veggie pizza, so that will be in the description below as well. Before I go, I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I also want to thank you for your continuous support. Guys, we've gone over 25,000 subscribers. I am so grateful. Please remember, as usual, share, like the video, leave your comments, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.